Wind energy. Wind energy is one of the oldest and most reliable sources of renewable energy, harnessed from the movement of air in the Earth's atmosphere. Wind turbines convert the kinetic energy of moving air into mechanical energy, which can then be transformed into electricity. Wind energy plays a crucial role in the global transition to sustainable energy, providing a clean, renewable alternative to fossil fuels. 1. Basics of wind energy. Wind energy is derived from the wind, caused by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface by the sun. This uneven heating creates air pressure differences, resulting in the movement of air from high-pressure areas to low-pressure areas. The speed of the wind determines the amount of energy that can be harnessed, with faster winds providing more energy. The primary way to capture wind energy is through the use of wind turbines, which consist of large blades mounted on a tower. When wind blows, it turns the blades of the turbine, which are connected to a generator that converts the rotational energy into electricity. Wind turbines are most efficient in locations with consistent and strong winds. 2. Types of wind energy systems. Onshore wind farms. Onshore wind farms are located on land, often in areas with high wind speeds, such as coastal regions, plains, or hilltops. These farms consist of numerous wind turbines installed in rows or clusters to capture the maximum amount of wind energy. Onshore wind farms are the most common and cost-effective type of wind energy systems. Advantages. Lower initial costs compared to offshore wind farms. Easier to install and maintain. Widely distributed across various countries. Disadvantages. Limited by land availability and local resistance due to aesthetic or noise concerns. Wind speeds may not be consistent in all areas. Offshore wind farms. Offshore wind farms are located in bodies of water, typically in shallow areas close to the coast. These wind farms have the advantage of stronger and more consistent winds compared to onshore installations. Offshore wind turbines are typically larger and more advanced to withstand harsh marine environments. Advantages. Access to stronger, more consistent winds. No land use conflicts with residential or agricultural areas. Disadvantages. Higher installation and maintenance costs due to the challenging marine environment. Requires specialized equipment and expertise. Vertical axis wind turbines VAWTs. Unlike the more common horizontal axis wind turbines HAWTs, VAWTs have blades that rotate around the vertical axis. These turbines can capture wind from any direction, making them more versatile in areas with fluctuating wind patterns. However, they are generally less efficient than HOTS and are still in the developmental stage for large-scale applications. Advantages. Can operate in turbulent wind conditions. Easier to install in urban areas or locations with space constraints. Disadvantages. Lower efficiency compared to HAWTs. Limited scalability for large-scale power generation. 3. Working principle of wind turbines. Wind turbines operate on the principle of converting kinetic energy, energy of motion, from the wind into mechanical energy. This is achieved through the following steps. Wind interaction. When wind strikes the blades of the turbine, it exerts force on them, causing the blades to rotate. Rotor and shaft movement. The rotating blades are connected to a rotor, which is attached to a shaft. The movement of the rotor and shaft generates mechanical energy. Generator conversion. The mechanical energy from the rotating shaft is transferred to a generator, which converts it into electricity. The electricity is then sent to the power grid or used directly. Wind turbines are designed to operate at optimal wind speeds, typically between 12 and 25 miles per hour. At wind speeds below or above this range, the turbine may shut down to prevent damage or inefficient operation. 4. Advantages of wind energy. Renewable and sustainable. Wind energy is a renewable resource, meaning it will never run out as long as the wind continues to blow. Unlike fossil fuels, wind energy does not deplete natural resources, making it a sustainable energy source for future generations. Zero emissions. Wind energy is a clean source of power. It produces no greenhouse gas emissions during operation, contributing to the reduction of global carbon footprints and helping to mitigate climate change. Low operating costs. Once a wind turbine is installed, the operating costs are relatively low. Wind energy systems do not require fuel, and maintenance costs are typically minimal, contributing to their cost effectiveness over the long term. Energy security. Wind energy can be harnessed locally, reducing dependence on imported fossil fuels. This contributes to energy security by diversifying the energy supply and providing a reliable, domestic energy source. Job creation. The wind energy sector generates numerous job opportunities in turbine manufacturing, installation, operation, and maintenance. The global push for renewable energy is driving the growth of the wind energy industry, creating jobs in both developed and developing nations. 5. Challenges of wind energy. Intermittency. Like solar energy, wind energy is intermittent. Wind speeds vary depending on time of day, weather conditions, and location, meaning wind power may not always be available when needed. This requires the integration of energy storage systems or backup power sources to ensure a steady supply of electricity. Aesthetic and noise concerns. Wind turbines, especially in onshore wind farms, can be seen as visually unappealing by local communities. Additionally, the noise produced by the turbines, blades can be a concern for people living nearby. This can lead to public opposition to wind energy projects. Bird and bat mortality. Wind turbines can pose a threat to local wildlife, particularly birds and bats, which may fly into the spinning blades. Although efforts have been made to reduce these impacts through better turbine design and siting, it remains an issue for some wind energy projects. Land use and space requirements. Wind farms require large areas of land to install multiple turbines, which can lead to conflicts with other land uses, such as agriculture or residential development. In urban areas, space constraints can limit the potential for wind energy generation. High initial costs. Although wind energy systems are cost-effective over time, the initial installation costs, including the purchase and setup of wind turbines, can be significant. Offshore wind farms, in particular, require high capital investment due to the specialized technology and infrastructure needed. 6. Wind energy and climate change. Wind energy plays a key role in addressing climate change by providing a clean alternative to fossil fuels. Wind turbines do not release carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases during their operation, making them essential in the transition to a low-carbon economy. By increasing the share of wind energy in the global energy mix, countries can significantly reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, helping to meet international climate goals such as those outlined in the Paris Agreement. Share of wind energy in the global energy mix, countries can significantly reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, helping to meet international climate goals such as those outlined in the Paris Agreement. Wind energy can also reduce the harmful health impacts associated with fossil fuel-based power generation, such as respiratory diseases and other pollution-related health problems. 7. Wind energy in the global context. Wind energy is growing rapidly around the world. As of 2020, China, the United States, and Germany were the largest producers of wind energy, with China leading the world in both onshore and offshore wind capacity. Many countries have set ambitious targets for increasing wind energy capacity as part of their renewable energy strategies. Offshore wind energy is also gaining traction, with countries like the United Kingdom, Denmark, and the Netherlands investing heavily in offshore wind farms. These countries are leading the way in offshore wind technology, with several large-scale projects in operation and more planned for the future. The global growth of wind energy is driven by the increasing need for clean energy, government incentives, and the declining cost of wind turbine technology. 8. Previous year questions. Question. What is the main advantage of offshore wind farms over onshore wind farms? A. They are cheaper to install. B. They have access to stronger and more consistent winds. C. They require less land. D. They are easier to maintain. Answer. B. They have access to stronger and more consistent winds. Year 2019. Question. Wind turbines convert blank energy into blank energy. A. Kinetic, electrical. B. Electrical, kinetic. C. Potential, mechanical. D. Thermal, electrical. Answer. A. Kinetic, electrical. Year 2020. Question. Which of the following is a major challenge associated with wind energy? A. High emissions during operation. B. Intermittency of power generation. C. Limited availability of wind in coastal areas. D. Water usage in turbines. Answer. B. Intermittency of power generation. Year 2021. Question. Which country is the largest producer of wind energy globally? A. China. B. Germany. C. United States. D. India. Answer. A. China. Year 2020. Question. What is a key environmental benefit of wind energy? A. It generates water vapor as a byproduct. B. It does not produce greenhouse gases during operation. C. It uses large amounts of water. D. It produces no noise pollution. Answer. B. It does not produce greenhouse gases during operation. Year 2022. In conclusion, wind energy is a powerful and sustainable source of renewable energy that can contribute significantly to the global shift towards cleaner energy. With its ability to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, create jobs, and enhance energy security, wind energy holds tremendous potential. However, challenges such as intermittency and land use conflicts must be addressed to maximize its impact on the global energy mix. You said, soil. ChatGPT said, soil energy resources. Soil is a critical and dynamic component of the Earth's natural environment. It supports plant life, influences the water cycle, and plays a key role in the carbon cycle. It is also an important resource for human society, providing the foundation for agriculture and sustaining ecosystems. Soil's relationship with energy resources is multidimensional, encompassing the natural processes through which energy is stored, transferred, and utilized by both the environment and human society. 1. Soil is a natural energy resource. Soil itself doesn't directly provide conventional energy sources like fossil fuels or renewable energy such as solar and wind energy. However, it plays an indirect role in energy systems, especially in the context of biological and ecological energy cycles. Understanding the relationship between soil and energy resources is important when assessing energy flows in ecosystems, sustainable land management, and bioenergy production. Biomass energy. Soil supports the growth of plants, which are a key source of biomass energy. Plants store solar energy through photosynthesis, and when they die and decompose, they can be converted into biofuels, such as ethanol or biogas, through biological processes. The soil's role in maintaining plant health and facilitating the growth of biomass is fundamental to the global energy system. Carbon sequestration. Soil functions as a large carbon sink, storing carbon in the form of organic matter. This process of carbon sequestration helps mitigate climate change by removing CO2 from the atmosphere and storing it in the soil for extended periods. Soil's role in the carbon cycle contributes to energy balances, affecting the global climate system, which has significant implications for energy demand and the shift to low-carbon energy systems. 2. Soil fertility and agricultural productivity. Soil's fertility, or its ability to support plant growth, is critical for agricultural productivity. Fertile soil allows plants to grow quickly and efficiently, providing food, fiber, and raw materials that are essential for human consumption and industrial use. This agricultural productivity is an important element of energy systems as it supports the production of biofuels, crops for food, and the growth of vegetation that contributes to both ecosystem energy cycles and biomass-based energy generation. Soil fertility is determined by several factors, including nutrient content, the presence of essential elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Soil structure, the arrangement of soil particles that influences water retention, root penetration, and gas exchange. Soil pH, a measure of the soil's acidity or alkalinity, which affects plant nutrient uptake. By maintaining soil health, it is possible to sustain agricultural systems that provide bioenergy in the form of crops and organic waste. 3. Soil and water interactions in energy systems. Soil's interaction with water is another critical aspect of its role in energy systems. Water and soil interact in the hydrological cycle, and soil moisture is crucial for maintaining plant life, which serves as a primary energy source for both humans and animals. The availability of water in soil impacts crop yields, which in turn affects the production of biofuels, food, and other agricultural resources. Water availability for bioenergy crops, crops like corn, sugarcane, and switchgrass, commonly used for biofuel production, depend heavily on soil moisture to thrive. The management of water resources, including irrigation and soil water conservation, plays a pivotal role in ensuring reliable energy outputs from bioenergy systems. Soil erosion and water loss. Soil erosion, often caused by improper land use and deforestation, can reduce soil's water retention capacity. This can negatively impact agricultural productivity, leading to reduced bioenergy production and increased vulnerability to energy supply disruptions in regions that depend on biofuels. 4. Soil is a medium for energy storage. Soil can also play a role in storing energy in the form of organic matter, particularly through the decomposition of plant and animal residues. The biological processes occurring in soil, such as the decomposition of organic material by microbes, release nutrients that are crucial for plant growth. In ecosystems, soil energy storage is essential for sustaining plant communities, providing the foundation for both food and bioenergy production. Anaerobic digestion. In certain environments, organic matter in soil undergoes anaerobic digestion, decomposition in the absence of oxygen, producing methane. This methane can be captured and used as a renewable energy source. This process is most commonly associated with landfills or agricultural waste but has the potential to be harnessed for bioenergy through advanced techniques like anaerobic digesters. Soil carbon storage. Soil carbon sequestration, as mentioned earlier, is a critical component of climate change mitigation strategies. By maintaining healthy soils that store organic carbon, ecosystems can store substantial amounts of energy in the form of carbon compounds. This contributes to reducing atmospheric CO2 levels, which is essential for addressing global warming. 5. Soil pollution and its impact on energy systems. Soil pollution, whether from industrial activities, agricultural chemicals, or waste disposal, can directly affect energy production by reducing soil fertility, increasing greenhouse gas emissions, and altering the carbon cycle. Contaminated soils may release toxins or methane, leading to further environmental degradation and energy imbalances. For instance, heavy metal contamination. Industrial activities often lead to the accumulation of heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and cadmium in the soil. These contaminants can disrupt plant growth, reducing biomass production, which is essential for biofuel generation. Contaminants can disrupt plant growth, reducing biomass production, which is essential for biofuel generation. Contaminated soil can also release harmful substances into the environment, which can have long-term impacts on the quality of bioenergy sources. Pesticide and fertilizer runoff. The excessive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides in agricultural practices can lead to the runoff of these substances into nearby soils and water bodies. This not only affects soil health but can also result in the degradation of ecosystems that are vital for biomass energy production. 6. Land management practices for sustainable energy production. Sustainable soil and land management practices are critical to maximizing the potential of soil as an energy resource. Practices like crop rotation, conservation tillage, and organic farming help maintain soil health, increase carbon sequestration, and reduce soil erosion, all of which support sustainable bioenergy production. These practices can also minimize the impact of soil pollution and improve the overall efficiency of land use. Additionally, integrating agroforestry and perennial crops into land management systems can enhance soil structure and increase the amount of organic matter stored in soil, thus boosting both carbon sequestration and biomass production for bioenergy. 7. Role of soil in carbon footprint reduction. Soil plays an important role in reducing the carbon footprint associated with energy production. By acting as a carbon sink, soil can absorb CO2 from the atmosphere, mitigating the effects of climate change. Soil carbon sequestration is an essential strategy in global efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and move towards a more sustainable energy future. The use of soil management techniques, such as conservation tillage and agroforestry, increases the amount of carbon stored in soil and reduces the overall carbon footprint of energy systems. Moreover, by preserving soil integrity and health, it is possible to maintain a stable energy cycle that contributes to long-term climate stability. 8. Previous year questions. Question. What is the primary role of soil in the energy system? A. Soil stores fossil fuels. B. Soil supports plant growth for biomass production. C. Soil generates electricity through microbial activity. D. Soil directly converts solar energy into electrical energy. Answer. B. Soil supports plant growth for biomass production. Year 2020. Question. How does soil erosion impact energy production? A. Increases water retention. B. Reduces agricultural productivity and bioenergy output. C. Enhances soil fertility for plant growth. D. Decreases carbon sequestration. Answer. B. Reduces agricultural productivity and bioenergy output. Year 2019. Question. Which of the following is a major benefit of soil carbon sequestration? A. Increases soil temperature. B. Reduces greenhouse gas emissions. C. Increases soil erosion. D. Decreases biomass production. Answer. B. Reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Year 2021. Question. What is a key characteristic of soil in relation to wind energy? A. Soil can directly convert wind energy into power. B. Soil helps increase wind speed in certain regions. C. Soil provides the foundation for wind turbine installations. D. Soil generates electricity from wind currents. Answer. C. Soil provides the foundation for wind turbine installations. Year 2022. Question. Which of the following can contribute to soil pollution and negatively affect biomass production for bioenergy? A. Organic farming. B. Excessive pesticide and fertilizer use. C. Agroforestry. D. Crop rotation. Answer. B. Excessive pesticide and fertilizer use. Year 2020. In conclusion, soil plays a multifaceted role in energy systems, from supporting biomass production to aiding in carbon sequestration. Proper soil management and conservation are vital to maintaining these benefits, contributing to sustainable energy production, reducing carbon footprints, and supporting bioenergy production. By understanding the interaction between soil, water, and energy systems, it is possible to enhance the efficiency of natural energy resources and minimize negative environmental impacts. You said, hydro, ChatGPT said, hydropower energy resources. Hydropower, also known as hydroelectric power, is a renewable energy resource that harnesses the energy from flowing water to generate electricity. It has been one of the most widely used sources of renewable energy due to its efficiency and ability to provide a stable energy output. Hydropower plays a critical role in both developed and developing countries in meeting energy demands while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. 1. Basics of hydropower. Hydropower is based on the fundamental principle of converting the kinetic energy of moving water into mechanical energy, which is then used to generate electricity. This is typically achieved through the use of dams, water turbines, and generators. There are several types of hydropower plants, each designed to harness energy from water in different ways. Run-of-the-river systems. These plants divert part of the river's flow to generate electricity without the need for large reservoirs or dams. These systems are often used in areas where the construction of a large dam would be impractical or undesirable. Reservoir storage systems. These systems store large amounts of water in a reservoir behind a dam. When electricity is needed, water is released from the reservoir and flows through turbines, generating electricity. These plants are ideal for meeting peak energy demands. Pump storage systems. This type of hydropower system is used for energy storage. During times of low energy demand, excess electricity is used to pump water into an elevated reservoir. During peak demand periods, the stored water is released, passing through turbines to generate electricity. 2. Hydropower's contribution to renewable energy. Hydropower is a key player in the global transition to renewable energy. It accounts for approximately 16% of the world's electricity production and about 60% of the total renewable electricity generation. It is a highly reliable source of energy and offers several advantages over other renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, including its ability to provide continuous, base load power. Advantages of hydropower. Reliable and efficient. Hydropower plants can provide continuous power and can be ramped up or down quickly to meet fluctuating electricity demands. Low greenhouse gas emissions. While the construction of large dams can lead to environmental changes, hydropower systems themselves produce virtually no greenhouse gas emissions once operational. Energy storage and grid stability. Hydropower can be used to balance the energy grid, especially in conjunction with intermittent renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Pump storage systems allow excess energy to be stored and released as needed, providing a stable energy supply. 3. Environmental and social impacts of hydropower. While hydropower offers many benefits, it also has several environmental and social impacts that need to be carefully managed. These include ecosystem disruption. The construction of dams and reservoirs can alter natural river systems, leading to changes in aquatic habitats, water quality, and fish migration patterns. Many species of fish, such as salmon, are particularly impacted by barriers created by dams. Displacement of communities. The construction of large dams often requires the relocation of people living in the areas that will be flooded by reservoirs. This displacement can lead to social and economic challenges for the affected communities, especially in developing countries. Sediment accumulation. Dams can trap sediment that would naturally flow downstream. This leads to reduced soil fertility in areas downstream of the dam, which can affect agriculture and ecosystems. Methane emissions. In some cases, reservoirs, particularly those in tropical regions, can lead to the release of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. This occurs when organic material submerged by the reservoir decomposes anaerobically without oxygen in the water, producing methane. 4. Small-scale hydropower and its role. Hydropower, also known as hydroelectric power, is a renewable energy resource that harnesses the energy from flowing water to generate electricity. It has been one of the most widely used sources of renewable energy due to its efficiency and ability to provide a stable energy output. Hydropower plays a critical role in both developed and developing countries in meeting energy demands while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. 1. Basics of hydropower. Hydropower is based on the fundamental principle of converting the kinetic energy of moving water into mechanical energy, which is then used to generate electricity. This is typically achieved through the use of dams, water turbines, and generators. There are several types of hydropower plants, each designed to harness energy from water in different ways. Run-of-the-river systems. These plants divert part of the river's flow to generate electricity without the need for large reservoirs or dams. These systems are often used in areas where the construction of a large dam would be impractical or undesirable. Reservoir storage systems. These systems store large amounts of water in a reservoir behind a dam. When electricity is needed, water is released from the reservoir and flows through turbines, generating electricity. These plants are ideal for meeting peak energy demands. Pump storage systems. This type of hydropower system is used for energy storage. During times of low energy demand, excess electricity is used to pump water into an elevated reservoir. During peak demand periods, the stored water is released, passing through turbines to generate electricity. 2. Hydropower's contribution to renewable energy. Hydropower is a key player in the global transition to renewable energy. It accounts for approximately 16% of the world's electricity production and about 60% of the total renewable electricity generation. It is a highly reliable source of energy and offers several advantages over other renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, including its ability to provide continuous, base load power. Advantages of hydropower. Reliable and efficient. Hydropower plants can provide continuous power and can be ramped up or down quickly to meet fluctuating electricity demands. Low greenhouse gas emissions. While the construction of large dams can lead to environmental changes, hydropower systems themselves produce virtually no greenhouse gas emissions once operational. Energy storage and grid stability. Hydropower can be used to balance the energy grid, especially in conjunction with intermittent renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Pump storage systems allow excess energy to be stored and released as needed, providing a stable energy supply. 3. Environmental and social impacts of hydropower. While hydropower offers many benefits, it also has several environmental and social impacts that need to be carefully managed. These include ecosystem disruption. The construction of dams and reservoirs can alter natural river systems, leading to changes in aquatic habitats, water quality, and fish migration patterns. Many species of fish, such as salmon, are particularly impacted by barriers created by dams. Displacement of communities. The construction of large dams often requires the relocation of people living in the areas that will be flooded by reservoirs. This displacement can lead to social and economic challenges for the affected communities, especially in developing countries. Sediment accumulation. Dams can trap sediment that would naturally flow downstream. This leads to reduced soil fertility in areas downstream of the dam, which can affect agriculture and ecosystems. Methane emissions. In some cases, reservoirs, particularly those in tropical regions, can lead to the release of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. This occurs when organic material submerged by the reservoir decomposes anaerobically without oxygen in the water, producing methane. 4. Small-scale hydropower and its role. Small-scale or micro-hydropower systems are increasingly being used as decentralized energy solutions in rural and remote areas where access to electricity is limited. These systems can range from small installations that generate just a few kilowatts to larger systems that produce up to 10 megawatts of power. Off-grid applications. Small-scale hydropower systems can provide reliable power to isolated communities, making them an important tool for reducing energy poverty in developing regions. Low impact. Small hydropower systems are generally considered to have lower environmental impacts than large-scale dams, as they often don't require the construction of large reservoirs or the relocation of communities. 5. Innovations in hydropower technology. Recent advancements in hydropower technology have focused on improving efficiency, minimizing environmental impacts, and expanding the use of hydropower in different regions. Some of these innovations include fish-friendly turbines. New turbine designs aim to reduce the impact of hydropower on aquatic life. These turbines allow fish to pass through the turbines with minimal harm. Hydropower from tidal and wave energy. In addition to traditional river and reservoir-based hydropower, there is growing interest in utilizing the energy from ocean tides and waves to generate electricity. These technologies are still in the early stages of development but have great potential to contribute to renewable energy production. Improved efficiency in storage systems. Research is focused on making pump storage systems more efficient and cost-effective. This includes using new materials and technologies to increase energy storage capacity and reduce the environmental impacts of these systems. 6. Hydropower and climate change. As the effects of climate change become more pronounced, the role of hydropower in mitigating climate change is becoming increasingly important. Hydropower provides a clean, renewable source of energy that does not emit carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. Additionally, hydropower can help integrate other forms of renewable energy, such as solar and wind, into the grid by providing backup power when these intermittent sources are not producing energy. However, climate change itself also has the potential to affect hydropower. Changes in precipitation patterns, the timing of snowmelt, and extreme weather events can all influence the availability of water for hydropower generation. To address these challenges, there is growing interest in improving the resilience of hydropower infrastructure and optimizing water resource management. 7. Previous year questions. Question: which of the following is a significant environmental impact of hydropower plants? A. Air pollution. B. Displacement of communities. C. Increased soil fertility. D. Enhanced biodiversity. Answer: B. Displacement of communities. Year 2018. Question: hydropower is primarily considered a source of which type of energy? A. Fossil fuel energy. B. Nuclear energy. C. Renewable energy. D. Geothermal energy. Answer: C. Renewable energy. Year 2020. Question: what is the primary purpose of a pumped storage hydropower system? A. To provide continuous energy during peak hours. B. To store excess energy for later use. C. To generate energy from ocean waves. D. To reduce water consumption in power plants. Answer: B. To store excess energy for later use. Year 2019. Question: what is a key disadvantage of large-scale hydropower systems? A. High operational costs. B. Production of hazardous waste. C. Disruption of aquatic ecosystems. Four. Small-scale hydropower and its role. Small-scale or micro-hydropower systems are increasingly being used as decentralized energy solutions in rural and remote areas where access to electricity is limited. These systems can range from small installations that generate just a few kilowatts to larger systems that produce up to 10 megawatts of power. Off-grid applications. Small-scale hydropower systems can provide reliable power to isolated communities, making them an important tool for reducing energy poverty in developing regions. Low impact. Small hydropower systems are generally considered to have lower environmental impacts than large-scale dams, as they often don't require the construction of large reservoirs or the relocation of communities. 5. Innovations in hydropower technology. Recent advancements in hydropower technology have focused on improving efficiency, minimizing environmental impacts, and expanding the use of hydropower in different regions. Some of these innovations include fish-friendly turbines. New turbine designs aim to reduce the impact of hydropower on aquatic life. These turbines allow fish to pass through the turbines with minimal harm. Hydropower from tidal and wave energy. In addition to traditional river and reservoir-based hydropower, there is growing interest in utilizing the energy from ocean tides and waves to generate electricity. These technologies are still in the early stages of development but have great potential to contribute to renewable energy production. Improved efficiency in storage systems. Research is focused on making pump storage systems more efficient and cost-effective. This includes using new materials and technologies to increase energy storage capacity and reduce the environmental impacts of these systems. 6. Hydropower and climate change. As the effects of climate change become more pronounced, the role of hydropower in mitigating climate change is becoming increasingly important. Hydropower provides a clean, renewable source of energy that does not emit carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. Additionally, hydropower can help integrate other forms of renewable energy, such as solar and wind, into the grid by providing backup power when these intermittent sources are not producing energy. However, climate change itself also has the potential to affect hydropower. Changes in precipitation patterns, the timing of snowmelt, and extreme weather events can all influence the availability of water for hydropower generation. To address these challenges, there is growing interest in improving the resilience of hydropower infrastructure and optimizing water resource management. 7. Previous year questions. Question: which of the following is a significant environmental impact of hydropower plants? A. Air pollution. B. Displacement of communities. C. Increased soil fertility. D. Enhanced biodiversity. Answer: B. Displacement of communities. Year 2018. Question: hydropower is primarily considered a source of which type of energy? A. Fossil fuel energy. B. Nuclear energy. C. Renewable energy. D. Geothermal energy. Answer: C. Renewable energy. Year 2020. Question: what is the primary purpose of a pumped storage hydropower system? A. To provide continuous energy during peak hours. B. To store excess energy for later use. C. To generate energy from ocean waves. D. To reduce water consumption in power plants. Answer: B. To store excess energy for later use. Year 2019. Question: what is a key disadvantage of large-scale hydropower systems? A. High operational costs. B. Production of hazardous waste. C. Disruption of aquatic ecosystems. D. Excessive land use for installation. Answer: C. Disruption of aquatic ecosystems. Year 2021. Question: which of the following is an example of a small-scale hydropower system? A. Hoover Dam. B. Three Gorges Dam. C. Micro hydropower for rural electrification. D. Hydropower plant with a reservoir. Answer: C. Micro hydropower for rural electrification. Year 2020. In conclusion, hydropower remains one of the most reliable and efficient sources of renewable energy. Its role in the global energy transition is significant, providing baseload power and supporting the integration of other renewable sources like solar and wind. However, environmental and social concerns, particularly related to large dams, must be managed carefully to ensure that hydropower contributes to sustainable energy development. You said geothermal. ChatGPT said geothermal energy resources. Geothermal energy is derived from the internal heat of the Earth. This heat originates from the planet's core and is continuously replenished by radioactive decay of materials within the Earth. Geothermal energy can be used for both heating purposes and electricity generation, making it a versatile and sustainable resource. This renewable energy source is not only environmentally friendly but also offers the potential for reliable and constant energy production. 1. Basics of geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is accessed by tapping into the Earth's natural heat, which is stored in the form of steam or hot water in the Earth's crust. The heat is most accessible in areas near tectonic plate boundaries, where volcanic activity or geothermal reservoirs are more common. Geothermal power plants use this heat to generate electricity, while geothermal heat pumps are used for heating and cooling buildings. There are three main types of geothermal power plants. Dry steam plants. These plants directly use steam from geothermal reservoirs to turn turbines connected to generators. The steam is extracted from deep wells and sent directly to the turbine. Flash steam plants. These plants extract hot water under high pressure from deep underground reservoirs. When the pressure is reduced flash, the water rapidly turns into steam, which is then used to turn turbines and generate electricity. Binary cycle power plants. In these plants, hot water from geothermal sources is passed through a secondary liquid with a lower boiling point than water. This secondary liquid vaporizes and turns the turbine, while the geothermal water remains in its liquid form and is reinjected into the earth to maintain pressure in the reservoir. 2. Advantages of geothermal energy. Renewable and sustainable. Geothermal energy is a renewable source because the heat within the earth is virtually inexhaustible over human timescales. Once the energy is used, the heat naturally replenishes itself. Low greenhouse gas emissions. Geothermal power plants produce far fewer greenhouse gases compared to fossil fuel-based power plants. This makes geothermal a clean energy source with minimal environmental impact. Base load power. Unlike solar and wind energy, which are intermittent, geothermal energy can provide continuous 24/7 electricity. This makes it a reliable source of energy that is not dependent on weather conditions. Small land footprint. Geothermal power plants typically require much less land area compared to solar and wind farms. This allows geothermal plants to be built in areas where space is limited. Direct use applications. Apart from electricity generation, geothermal energy can be used for direct heating purposes, including district heating systems, greenhouse heating, and industrial applications such as drying food or minerals. 3. Environmental and social impacts of geothermal energy. While geothermal energy is considered environmentally friendly compared to fossil fuels, it does have some potential impacts. Land subsidence. In some cases, the extraction of geothermal fluids can cause land subsidence, where the ground sinks due to the depletion of underground reservoirs. This can result in damage to infrastructure and the environment. Water usage and depletion. Geothermal power plants require a substantial amount of water for cooling purposes, which can lead to localized water depletion if not properly managed. Release of gases. Although geothermal energy produces far fewer emissions than fossil fuels, certain geothermal reservoirs contain trace amounts of gases such as sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. These gases must be carefully managed to prevent pollution and ensure the health and safety of nearby communities. Disruption of local ecosystems. The development of geothermal power plants can impact local ecosystems, especially in areas that are home to unique or endangered species. The construction and operation of these plants may lead to habitat destruction, soil erosion, and other ecological disturbances. 4. Geothermal energy and climate change mitigation. Geothermal energy plays an important role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and combating climate change. It is a clean energy source that can help reduce the dependence on fossil fuels, thus lowering carbon emissions in the power and heating sectors. Additionally, geothermal energy can be used in combination with other renewable energy sources, such as wind and solar, to create a more resilient and sustainable energy grid. As climate change continues to pose challenges, geothermal energy's reliability, low environmental impact, and ability to function as a base load power source make it an essential component of a low carbon energy future. 5. Global geothermal energy potential and development. Geothermal energy is abundant and globally distributed, but it is most effectively harnessed in regions that are geologically active. The Pacific Ring of Fire, which includes countries like Iceland, the United States, New Zealand, and the Philippines, is rich in geothermal resources. Other countries, such as Kenya, Mexico, and Italy, also have significant geothermal power generation capacities. Iceland is a world leader in geothermal energy usage, with nearly 90% of its homes heated by geothermal systems and a significant portion of its electricity generated by geothermal power plants. The United States is another leader, with the largest geothermal power capacity in the world, primarily located in California. Kenya is a notable example of geothermal energy use in Africa, where geothermal power now provides a significant portion of the country's electricity. 6. Challenges and future of geothermal energy. Despite its potential, geothermal energy still faces several challenges that need to be addressed to expand its use. High initial costs. The upfront capital cost of building geothermal power plants, including drilling wells and constructing infrastructure, can be high. However, the operational costs are relatively low, making geothermal energy economically viable in the long term. Resource location. Geothermal energy resources are not evenly distributed across the globe. Countries in regions without significant geological activity may face difficulty in harnessing this energy source. Technological innovations. Advancements in drilling technology, enhanced geothermal systems (EGS), and the ability to harness geothermal energy from lower temperature resources could significantly increase the feasibility and profitability of geothermal energy worldwide. 7. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is a type of geothermal power plant? A. Flash steam plant. B. Solar thermal plant. C. Wind turbine. D. Bioenergy plant. Answer. A. Flash steam plant. Year 2019. Question. What is a major environmental concern associated with geothermal energy extraction? A. Carbon dioxide emissions. B. Land subsidence. C. Water pollution. D. Increased air pollution. Answer. B. Land subsidence. Year 2020. Question. Geothermal energy is considered a renewable resource because A. The Earth's core heat is continually replenished. B. It uses solar energy to generate electricity. C. It produces no greenhouse gases. D. It can be used indefinitely without depleting resources. Answer. A. The Earth's core heat is continually replenished. Year 2021. Question. Which region has the highest potential for geothermal energy production? A. African Sahara. B. Pacific Ring of Fire. C. Central Asia. D. Northern Europe. Answer. B. Pacific Ring of Fire. Year 2022. Question. What is the primary function of a geothermal heat pump? Question. Which of the following is a type of geothermal power plant? A. Flash steam plant. B. Solar thermal plant. C. Wind turbine. D. Bioenergy plant. Answer. A. Flash steam plant. Year 2019. Question. What is a major environmental concern associated with geothermal energy extraction? A. Carbon dioxide emissions. B. Land subsidence. C. Water pollution. D. Increased air pollution. Answer. B. Land subsidence. Year 2020. Question. Geothermal energy is considered a renewable resource because A. The Earth's core heat is continually replenished. B. It uses solar energy to generate electricity. C. It produces no greenhouse gases. D. It can be used indefinitely without depleting resources. Answer. A. The Earth's core heat is continually replenished. Year 2021. Question. Which region has the highest potential for geothermal energy production? A. African Sahara. B. Pacific Ring of Fire. C. Central Asia. D. Northern Europe. Answer. B. Pacific Ring of Fire. Year 2022. Question. What is the primary function of a geothermal heat pump? A. To generate electricity from Earth's heat. B. To provide heating and cooling for buildings. C. To store excess. A. To generate electricity from Earth's heat. B. To provide heating and cooling for buildings. C. To store excess geothermal energy. D. To convert solar energy into electricity. Answer. B. To provide heating and cooling for buildings. Year 2020. In conclusion, geothermal energy represents a crucial component of the renewable energy landscape. It offers reliable, low emission, and sustainable electricity and heating options. Despite some environmental challenges and high initial costs, the potential of geothermal energy remains significant in combating climate change and transitioning to a low-carbon energy future. Advances in technology and broader global adoption can further expand its role in the energy mix. You said, biomass. ChatGPT said, biomass energy resources. Biomass energy refers to the energy produced from organic materials, which can be plant-based like wood, crops, and algae, or animal-based like manure. Biomass energy is considered a renewable energy source because the organic materials used can be replenished relatively quickly compared to fossil fuels. Biomass can be converted into biofuels such as ethanol and biodiesel, or used directly for heat and power generation. This form of energy is an integral part of the global transition to cleaner, more sustainable energy systems. 1. Basics of biomass energy. Biomass materials contain chemical energy stored through photosynthesis. When these materials are burned, fermented, or otherwise processed, they release energy in the form of heat, gas, or electricity. The energy produced can be used in various applications, from household heating to large-scale electricity generation. The most common sources of biomass include wood and agricultural residues. This includes wood chips, sawdust, corn stalks, rice husks, and other agricultural waste products. Animal manure. Animal waste, including manure from cows, poultry, and other livestock, can be used to produce biogas, which can be harnessed for electricity and heating. Dedicated energy crops. Crops grown specifically for energy production, such as switchgrass, miscanthus, and fast-growing trees like poplar, can be cultivated to provide a consistent source of biomass. Algae. Certain species of algae can be cultivated to produce biofuels such as biodiesel. Algae-based fuels have gained attention for their high yield and potential for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. 2. Biomass conversion methods. There are several methods for converting biomass into usable energy. Combustion. The most common method for using biomass energy involves burning biomass materials to generate heat. The heat produced can be used for industrial heating or converted into electricity through steam turbines. Large power plants utilize this method to generate significant amounts of electricity. Gasification. Biomass can be heated in an oxygen-limited environment to produce synthetic gas, syngas, which contains hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and other gases. Syngas can be used for electricity generation or as a fuel for vehicles. There are several methods for converting biomass into usable energy. Combustion. The most common method for using biomass energy involves burning biomass materials to generate heat. The heat produced can be used for industrial heating or converted into electricity through steam turbines. Large power plants utilize this method to generate significant amounts of electricity. Gasification. Biomass can be heated in an oxygen-limited environment to produce synthetic gas, syngas, which contains hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and other gases. Syngas can be used for electricity generation or as a fuel for vehicles. Anaerobic digestion. In this process, organic material like manure or food waste is broken down by microorganisms in the absence of oxygen, producing biogas, which can be used for heating, electricity generation, or as a vehicle fuel. Fermentation. Biomass, particularly crops like corn and sugarcane, can be fermented to produce biofuels such as ethanol. This process is commonly used in the production of bioethanol, which is used as a fuel additive in vehicles to reduce dependence on petroleum. Transesterification. This is the process used to convert vegetable oils or animal fats into biodiesel. The oils are reacted with methanol or ethanol in the presence of a catalyst, resulting in biodiesel and glycerin. 3. Advantages of biomass energy. Renewable and carbon neutral. Biomass is renewable because it comes from organic materials that are continually replenished through natural processes. When biomass is burned or decomposed, it releases carbon dioxide, CO2. However, the plants that are grown to replace the biomass absorb CO2 during photosynthesis, effectively making the net CO2 emissions close to zero. This cycle helps mitigate the carbon footprint of biomass energy. Waste reduction. Biomass energy offers an effective way to reduce waste. Organic waste materials, including agricultural residues, food waste, and even certain forms of urban waste, can be converted into energy. This helps to address both waste management issues and the need for cleaner energy. Energy security. Biomass is produced locally and can be used to reduce reliance on imported fossil fuels, enhancing energy security. Many regions around the world have significant biomass resources, which can be utilized for domestic energy production. Economic benefits. The development of biomass energy creates jobs in agriculture, forestry, and waste management industries. It also supports rural economies by providing a market for agricultural residues and energy crops. 4. Environmental considerations and challenges. Despite its advantages, biomass energy does present some environmental and operational challenges. Land use and food production. Large-scale production of biomass crops can compete with food production, raising concerns about food security. Land used for growing energy crops may reduce the availability of land for food crops, especially in developing countries. The production of certain crops for biomass energy, such as corn for ethanol, can also result in soil degradation and the use of large quantities of water and fertilizers. Deforestation. Unsustainable biomass harvesting, particularly of wood for fuel, can contribute to deforestation, biodiversity loss, and soil erosion. Overharvesting of forests for biomass could result in a negative environmental impact if not managed sustainably. Air pollution. Although biomass is considered a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels, the combustion process can still release pollutants into the air, including particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds (VOCs). These emissions can affect air quality, particularly in regions where biomass is burned in open fires or inefficient stoves. Energy efficiency. The energy efficiency of biomass conversion processes can vary. For example, while burning wood for heating is relatively efficient, the conversion of biomass into biofuels like ethanol may require significant energy inputs, potentially reducing its overall environmental benefits. Greenhouse gas emissions. While biomass is considered carbon neutral in theory, its life cycle emissions depend on how the biomass is produced, transported, and converted. For instance, the transportation of biomass fuels over long distances can result in substantial carbon emissions, which may offset some of the benefits of using biomass as a fuel. 5. Biomass energy and climate change mitigation. Biomass plays a role in mitigating climate change by providing an alternative to fossil fuels, reducing the carbon emissions associated with energy production. It can also contribute to reducing waste in landfills, as organic materials are diverted and used for energy production instead of decomposing and releasing methane, a potent greenhouse gas. However, the extent of its contribution to climate change mitigation depends on the sustainability of the biomass used, the efficiency of conversion technologies, and the methods of land management. Ensuring that biomass production is sustainable and does not lead to deforestation or other negative environmental impacts is crucial for realizing its climate benefits. 6. Global biomass energy potential and development. Biomass energy is widely used around the world, and its potential continues to grow as a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels. Key countries investing in biomass energy include the United States, Brazil, China, and India. Brazil, in particular, has been a global leader in bioethanol production, using sugarcane as a feedstock. The European Union also has strong policies encouraging biomass use, particularly for heat and power generation. The United States. The U.S. is a leading producer of ethanol from corn, and biomass power plants provide a significant portion of renewable energy. The U.S. also has a growing number of anaerobic digestion projects for biogas production. Brazil. Brazil has one of the most successful biofuel programs in the world, producing ethanol primarily from sugarcane. The country has a well-established ethanol market and a strong infrastructure for biofuels. India. India is increasing its use of biomass for power generation, especially in rural areas, where agricultural residues provide an abundant source of feedstock. 7. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is a common biomass material used for energy production? A. Coal. B. Animal manure. C. Natural gas. D. Uranium. Answer. B. Animal manure. Year 2018. Question. What is the main advantage of using biomass energy over fossil fuels? A. It is a renewable resource. B. It does not produce any greenhouse gases. C. It can be used only in transportation. D. It is more efficient than solar power. Answer. A. It is a renewable resource. Year 2020. Question. Which of the following is a method of converting biomass into energy? A. Electrolysis. B. Combustion. C. Photosynthesis. D. Nuclear fission. Answer. B. Combustion. Year 2019. Question. What is the potential environmental issue associated with biomass energy production? A. Deforestation. B. Excessive water use. C. Soil degradation. D. All of the above. Answer. D. All of the above. Year 2021. Question. What is the primary feedstock used in the production of bioethanol? A. Algae. B. Corn. C. Rice. D. Soybeans. Answer. B. Corn. Year 2017. In conclusion, biomass energy is a significant renewable resource with the potential to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and mitigate climate change. While it offers a clean alternative to traditional energy sources, its environmental and social impacts, including land use, deforestation, and emissions, must be carefully managed to ensure its sustainability. clean alternative to traditional energy sources, its environmental and social impacts, including land use, deforestation, and emissions, must be carefully managed to ensure its sustainability. With continued technological advancements and efficient management practices, biomass energy can play a critical role in a sustainable energy future. You said. Nuclear and forests. ChatGPT said. Nuclear energy and forests 1. Nuclear energy overview. Nuclear energy refers to the energy released from the nucleus of atoms during processes such as nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. The most common method for energy production today is nuclear fission, where atoms of elements like uranium-235 or plutonium-239 are split, releasing large amounts of energy. Nuclear power plants harness this energy to generate electricity, making it one of the key components of the global energy mix. Unlike fossil fuels, nuclear energy does not directly emit carbon dioxide (CO2) during electricity generation, which positions it as a potential solution for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and combating climate change. However, the associated challenges, including waste management, safety concerns, and the risk of nuclear accidents, make nuclear energy a highly debated and controversial subject in the context of environmental sustainability. 2. Advantages of nuclear energy. Low greenhouse gas emissions. One of the most significant advantages of nuclear energy is that it produces electricity with minimal greenhouse gas emissions. A nuclear power plant's carbon footprint is comparable to that of renewable energy sources like wind and solar, making it a cleaner alternative to coal and natural gas. High energy density. Nuclear energy has an extremely high energy density. A small amount of nuclear fuel can produce a large amount of energy compared to fossil fuels, making it an efficient way to meet energy demands. Baseload energy supply. Nuclear power provides consistent and reliable energy. Unlike intermittent renewable sources like solar and wind, nuclear plants can operate continuously for long periods, typically 18 to 24 months, before requiring refueling. Energy security. Nuclear energy can reduce a country's dependence on imported fossil fuels. With uranium mines located in many parts of the world, nuclear energy provides a stable and domestic energy supply. 3. Disadvantages of nuclear energy. Nuclear waste. One of the biggest environmental concerns related to nuclear energy is the production of radioactive waste. This waste can remain hazardous for thousands of years and requires secure, long-term storage. Managing nuclear waste safely is one of the key challenges facing the nuclear industry. Risk of accidents. Accidents in nuclear power plants, such as those that occurred at Chernobyl 1986 and Fukushima 2011, highlight the potential risks of nuclear energy. While the likelihood of such events is low, their consequences can be catastrophic, including widespread radiation exposure, contamination of land, and displacement of populations. Nuclear proliferation. The technology used in nuclear energy production can also be applied to the development of nuclear weapons. This raises geopolitical concerns, as the spread of nuclear technology can increase the risk of nuclear proliferation. High costs. Building and maintaining nuclear power plants is expensive. The construction of a nuclear power facility requires significant capital investment, and decommissioning plants when they reach the end of their lifespan also incurs high costs. 4. Nuclear energy and environmental impact. While nuclear energy does not emit greenhouse gases during operation, its environmental impact is not negligible. The mining, processing, and transportation of uranium, the raw material used in nuclear fuel, can lead to environmental degradation, including land degradation. Uranium mining can cause significant land disturbance, habitat destruction, and contamination of water supplies with radioactive materials. The extraction process can also produce large amounts of waste, which can further pollute the surrounding environment. Water use. Nuclear power plants require substantial amounts of water for cooling. This can lead to the depletion of local water resources, especially in areas where water is already scarce. Moreover, heated water discharged from power plants can disrupt local aquatic ecosystems. Accidental releases. Though rare, nuclear accidents can release large quantities of radioactive materials into the environment. This can lead to widespread contamination of land, water, and air, as well as long-term health effects on affected populations. 5. Forests and nuclear energy. Forests, especially tropical and temperate forests, play a critical role in the global carbon cycle, biodiversity conservation, and the regulation of local climates. The relationship between nuclear energy and forests is indirect but significant in certain aspects, particularly in terms of land use, energy production, and environmental protection. Energy demand and deforestation. As global energy demand rises, forests are often cleared to make way for the construction of energy infrastructure, including coal, gas, and even renewable energy projects like hydropower dams and bioenergy facilities. While nuclear power plants do not require large areas of land compared to some renewable energy sources, the overall energy landscape can still influence land use patterns and lead to deforestation or habitat fragmentation. Nuclear power and forest conservation. On the positive side, nuclear power's ability to produce large amounts of energy with minimal land use can reduce the need to encroach on natural forests for biomass or hydroelectric power. In regions where forests are threatened by agricultural expansion or logging, nuclear energy may offer an alternative that helps preserve critical ecosystems. Climate change and forests. Nuclear energy can play a role in mitigating climate change by reducing the reliance on fossil fuels, which are the primary drivers of global warming. Climate change, in turn, poses significant threats to forests. Rising temperatures, changes in precipitation patterns, and extreme weather events can lead to forest dieback, shifts in species distributions, and increased risk of forest fires. By providing a low-carbon energy source, nuclear power can help reduce the impacts of climate change on forest ecosystems. 6. Previous year questions. Question. What is the main advantage of nuclear energy over fossil fuels? A. It emits no greenhouse gases. B. It is cheaper to produce. C. It is more widely available. D. It is less radioactive. Answer. A. It emits no greenhouse gases. Year 2019. Question. Which of the following is a major environmental concern associated with nuclear energy production? A. Acid rain. B. Radioactive waste disposal. C. Deforestation. D. Noise pollution. Answer. B. Radioactive waste disposal. Year 2020. Question. What is one of the risks associated with the mining of uranium for nuclear energy? A. Soil erosion. B. Groundwater contamination. C. Noise pollution. D. Water scarcity. Answer. B. Groundwater contamination. Year 2021. Question. How does nuclear energy contribute to climate change mitigation? A. It reduces the need for fossil fuels, lowering greenhouse gas emissions. B. It requires the planting of trees to absorb CO2. C. It releases large quantities of CO2 during operation. D. It promotes the use of biofuels. Answer. A. It reduces the need for fossil fuels, lowering greenhouse gas emissions. Year 2018. Question. Which of the following is a key disadvantage of nuclear energy? A. High greenhouse gas emissions. B. Limited availability of uranium. C. High operational costs. D. Risk of radioactive contamination. Answer. D. Risk of radioactive contamination. Year 2017. Conclusion. Nuclear energy is a vital part of the global energy mix, providing a low-carbon alternative to fossil fuels. However, its environmental impact, including concerns related to radioactive waste, the potential for accidents, and the energy-intensive mining of uranium, must be carefully managed. When compared to forests, nuclear power offers both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, it can help reduce the pressure on forests by providing an alternative to energy sources that require large amounts of land, such as biomass and hydropower. On the other hand, nuclear energy's environmental risks, including the potential for contamination and land degradation from uranium mining, need to be addressed through strict regulatory frameworks and sustainable practices. By balancing these factors, nuclear energy can contribute to sustainable development and climate change mitigation while minimizing its negative impacts on forests and other ecosystems. You said. Natural hazards and disasters, mitigation strategies. ChatGPT said. Natural hazards and disasters, mitigation strategies 1. Introduction to natural hazards and disasters. Natural hazards are extreme and often sudden events that occur due to natural processes of the earth, such as earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and landslides. These hazards can result in disasters when they affect human populations and infrastructure, leading to loss of life, property damage, and environmental degradation. The difference between a natural hazard and a disaster lies in human vulnerability. While hazards are natural events, disasters occur when these events have detrimental effects on human societies. Natural hazards, events like earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, volcanic eruptions, droughts, and hurricanes. Natural disasters, when these hazards lead to significant damage, loss of life, or economic and environmental disruption. Mitigation strategies aim to reduce the impact of natural hazards on human society by preventing, preparing for, or reducing the effects of these hazards. Effective mitigation involves both structural and non-structural measures, as well as public education and awareness. 2. Types of natural hazards and associated mitigation strategies. 2.1 Earthquakes. Earthquakes occur due to the sudden release of energy in the Earth's crust, causing the ground to shake. Earthquakes are most commonly associated with tectonic plate boundaries, but they can occur anywhere in the world. Mitigation strategies for earthquakes. Building codes and retrofitting. Ensuring buildings and infrastructure are constructed to withstand seismic forces is one of the most effective strategies. Retrofitting older structures to make them more resistant to earthquakes is essential in seismic-prone areas. Seismic monitoring and early warning systems. Installing seismic networks to monitor ground movements and providing early warning systems can give people time to take precautions before the shaking begins. Public awareness and education. Educating communities about earthquake preparedness, such as drop, cover, and hold on drills, can save lives. Land use planning. Avoiding the construction of critical infrastructure in areas with high seismic risk, such as near fault lines, can reduce the impact of earthquakes. 2.2 Floods. Flooding occurs when water exceeds its normal levels and inundates areas that are usually dry. Floods can be caused by heavy rainfall, storm surges, or the overflow of rivers and lakes. Mitigation strategies for floods. Flood control infrastructure. The construction of dams, levees, and floodwalls can help prevent floodwaters from reaching vulnerable areas. Additionally, the development of stormwater management systems, such as retention basins, can control urban flooding. Floodplain zoning. Restricting development in flood-prone areas and implementing zoning regulations that prevent the construction of buildings on floodplains can reduce vulnerability. Flood forecasting and early warning systems. Accurate forecasting and early warnings can enable timely evacuation and reduce the damage caused by floods. Floodplain restoration. Restoring wetlands and other natural flood buffers can help absorb excess water and reduce the severity of floods. 2.3 Hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones. Hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are powerful tropical storms that cause strong winds, heavy rainfall, and storm surges, leading to flooding and widespread damage. Mitigation strategies for hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones. Building standards and design. Constructing buildings to withstand high winds and flooding is essential. Roof designs, reinforcement, and use of appropriate building materials can minimize structural damage. Evacuation plans. Developing and practicing evacuation plans can ensure that people are moved to safety ahead of the storm. Early warning systems. Timely warnings about hurricanes or typhoons can help people evacuate and prepare for the event, reducing casualties and property damage. Coastal defense structures. The construction of seawalls, tidal barriers, and mangrove restoration can protect coastal areas from storm surges and erosion. 2.4 Volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are caused by the movement of molten rock magma from beneath the Earth's surface to the atmosphere, often resulting in ash clouds, lava flows, and pyroclastic flows. Mitigation strategies for volcanic eruptions. Monitoring and early warning. Volcanic eruptions can often be predicted through monitoring of seismic activity, gas emissions, and ground deformation. Early warning systems can provide alerts to evacuate populations in high-risk zones. Land use planning and zoning. Restricting development in volcanic hazard zones, especially near active volcanoes, can prevent loss of life and property. Evacuation plans. Clearly defined evacuation routes and shelters can help protect people in the event of an eruption. Education and public awareness. Educating local populations on the signs of impending volcanic activity and evacuation procedures is essential for disaster management. 2.5 Droughts. Droughts are prolonged periods of abnormally low rainfall that lead to water shortages and can severely affect agriculture, water supplies, and ecosystems. Mitigation strategies for droughts. Water conservation practices. Encouraging water-saving techniques, such as rainwater harvesting, water-efficient irrigation, and the use of drought-resistant crops, can reduce the impact of water shortages. Diversified water resources. Developing alternative water sources, such as desalination or the use of wastewater, can ensure a more stable supply of water during periods of drought. Drought-resistant agriculture. Promoting drought-resistant crop varieties and agricultural practices that minimize water usage can help ensure food security in drought-prone regions. Drought early warning systems. Developing systems that monitor and predict drought conditions can allow governments and communities to prepare and respond more effectively. 3. General mitigation strategies for natural hazards. 3.1 Risk assessment and vulnerability mapping. Identifying areas at high risk of natural hazards and assessing their vulnerability is essential in formulating mitigation strategies. Vulnerability mapping helps prioritize actions for disaster prevention, preparedness, and response. 3.2 Early warning systems. Technological advancements allow for the development of early warning systems that can forecast natural hazards such as cyclones, floods, and tsunamis. These systems give authorities and communities time to prepare and reduce the impact of disasters. 3.3 Disaster preparedness and response plans. Having clear disaster preparedness and response plans is critical for minimizing damage during a natural disaster. These plans should include evacuation procedures, emergency supplies, and communication strategies. 3.4 Education and public awareness. Raising awareness about the risks of natural hazards and educating people on how to protect themselves and their property is an essential component of disaster risk reduction. 3.5 International collaboration. Disasters often transcend national borders, especially in the case of climate-change-related hazards like hurricanes and floods. International cooperation, knowledge sharing, and assistance are crucial for effective mitigation and response. 4. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is not a mitigation strategy for earthquakes? A. Seismic monitoring systems. B. Building codes and retrofitting. C. Construction of dams and levees. D. Public education and preparedness. Answer. C. Construction of dams and levees. Year 2019. Question. What is the most effective strategy for mitigating flood risks in urban areas? A. Deforestation. B. Stormwater management and retention basins. C. Building dams. D. Encouraging floodplain development. Answer. B. Stormwater management and retention basins. Year 2020. Question. How can coastal areas mitigate the impacts of hurricanes? A. Planting trees. B. Building seawalls and tidal barriers. C. Installing wind turbines. D. Developing floodplain areas. Answer. B. Building seawalls and tidal barriers. Year 2021. Question. What is a key strategy for managing volcanic eruption risks? A. Limiting mining activities. B. Monitoring seismic activity and providing early warnings. C. Increasing agricultural productivity. D. Promoting urban sprawl. Answer. B. Monitoring seismic activity and providing early warnings. Year 2018. Question. Which of the following is an essential component of drought mitigation? A. Expanding irrigation networks. B. Water conservation and drought-resistant crops. C. Deforestation. D. Excessive groundwater extraction. Answer. B. Water conservation and drought-resistant crops. Year 2017. Conclusion. Mitigating the impact of natural hazards requires a multifaceted approach that includes structural measures, policy frameworks, technological innovations, and public participation. By combining early warning systems, improved infrastructure, education, and sustainable land use practices, the adverse effects of natural disasters can be minimized. Effective disaster management and mitigation not only protect human life and property but also contribute to building more resilient communities in the face of natural hazards. You said. Environmental Protection Act 1986. ChatGPT said. Environmental Protection Act 19861. Introduction. The Environmental Protection Act (EPA) of 1986 is a comprehensive legislation in India aimed at protecting and improving the environment. It was enacted by the government of India under its constitutional power to protect the environment and was formulated as a response to the increasing environmental degradation and the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. The Bhopal disaster, which led to the leakage of toxic gas from a pesticide plant, highlighted the need for stringent environmental regulations and measures to safeguard public health and ecosystems. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, provides a framework for the protection and improvement of the environment and outlines the powers and responsibilities of the government in regulating and managing environmental issues. 2. Objective of the Act. The main objectives of the Environmental Protection Act, 1986 are as follows. To safeguard and protect the environment, this includes air, water, land, and ecosystems from pollutants and harmful practices. To promote environmental awareness, encouraging the public to take part in environmental conservation efforts. To regulate industries and operations, ensuring that industries do not pollute the environment beyond permissible limits. To establish an authority for monitoring and implementing the Act, the central government is empowered to take necessary actions and formulate rules to control pollution and ensure compliance. 3. Key provisions of the Act. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, grants the central government the authority to take several actions related to environmental management and pollution control. Some of its key provisions include 3.1 Powers of the central government. Section 3. The central government is empowered to take measures to protect and improve the environment by implementing rules and regulations. This includes setting standards for the quality of air, water, and soil, and controlling emissions from industrial sources. Section 4. The government has the authority to give directions to any Environmental Protection Act, 1986, ChatGPT said. Environmental Protection Act, 19861, Introduction. The Environmental Protection Act, EPA, of 1986 is a comprehensive legislation in India aimed at protecting and improving the environment. It was enacted by the government of India under its constitutional power to protect the environment and was formulated as a response to the increasing environmental degradation and the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. The Bhopal disaster, which led to the leakage of toxic gas from a pesticide plant, highlighted the need for stringent environmental regulations and measures to safeguard public health and ecosystems. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, provides a framework for the protection and improvement of the environment and outlines the powers and responsibilities of the government in regulating and managing environmental issues. 2. Objective of the Act. The main objectives of the Environmental Protection Act, 1986, are as follows. To safeguard and protect the environment, this includes air, water, land, and ecosystems from pollutants and harmful practices. To promote environmental awareness, encouraging the public to take part in environmental conservation efforts. To regulate industries and operations, ensuring that industries do not pollute the environment beyond permissible limits. To establish an authority for monitoring and implementing the Act, the central government is empowered to take necessary actions and formulate rules to control pollution and ensure compliance. 3. Key provisions of the Act. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, grants the central government the authority to take several actions related to environmental management and pollution control. Some of its key provisions include 3.1 Powers of the central government. Section 3. The central government is empowered to take measures to protect and improve the environment by implementing rules and regulations. This includes setting standards for the quality of air, water, and soil, and controlling emissions from industrial sources. Section 4. The government has the authority to give directions to any person, officer, or authority. 3.1 Powers of the central government. Section 3. The central government is empowered to take The main objectives of the Environmental Protection Act, 1986, are as follows. To safeguard and protect the environment, this includes air, water, land, and ecosystems from pollutants and harmful practices. To promote environmental awareness, encouraging the public to take part in environmental conservation efforts. To regulate industries and operations, ensuring that industries do not pollute the environment beyond permissible limits. To establish an authority for monitoring and implementing the Act, the central government is empowered to take necessary actions and formulate rules to control pollution and ensure compliance. 3. Key provisions of the Act. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, grants the central government the authority to take several actions related to environmental management and pollution control. Some of its key provisions include 3.1 Powers of the central government. Section 3. The central government is empowered to take measures to protect and improve the environment by implementing rules and regulations. This includes setting standards for the quality of air, water, and soil, and controlling emissions from industrial sources. Section 4. The government has the authority to give directions to any person, officer, or authority to ensure that environmental laws and standards are adhered to. This includes the power to take action in cases of environmental violations. Section 5. The government can issue emergency orders to prevent environmental damage. In cases where there is an immediate threat to the environment, the government has the right to take swift and decisive action. Section 6. The government can frame rules and regulations to ensure the protection of the environment, covering matters such as the handling and disposal of hazardous substances, air quality, water pollution, and waste management. 3.2 Environmental standards and pollution control. Section 7. The Act empowers the central government to set standards for emissions, effluents, and the quality of air, water, and soil. These standards help regulate the pollutants released by industrial activities. Section 8. This section provides the authority to prescribe regulations regarding the disposal of hazardous substances and the management of hazardous waste, which can affect public health and the environment. Section 9. The government can issue guidelines for the establishment of waste treatment plants and other pollution control devices in industrial areas to mitigate the impact of industrial waste. 3.3 Powers to establish authorities. Section 10. The central government can appoint officers and set up authorities or organizations to manage and enforce environmental laws and policies. These include agencies such as the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, State Pollution Control Boards, SPCB, and other relevant bodies. 3.4 Environmental clearances. Section 11. No person shall undertake any activity or establish an industrial plant without prior environmental clearance from the concerned authorities. This helps prevent environmental damage before projects begin. 3.5 Penalties and punishments. Section 15. The Act provides for penalties and punishments for individuals and organizations that violate its provisions. Penalties can include imprisonment and fines for those who contravene environmental standards, regulations, or fail to comply with directions from the authorities. 3.6 Environmental appeals. Section 16. If an individual or organization feels aggrieved by an order or decision made under this Act, they have the right to appeal to the appellate authority, which can review the case and pass necessary orders. 4. Implementation and role of authorities. 4.1 Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB. The CPCB is the main regulatory body responsible for monitoring and controlling pollution. It formulates national standards for air and water quality, provides technical guidance, and coordinates the efforts of state pollution control boards. 4.2 State Pollution Control Boards, SPCB. Each state in India has its own state pollution control board, which operates under the guidelines of the CPCB. These boards are responsible for monitoring pollution within their respective states, implementing regulations, and providing environmental permits for industries. 4.3 Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA. The Act also includes provisions related to the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA process, which requires the assessment of the potential environmental effects of proposed projects. The EIA ensures that development projects consider environmental factors before their implementation. 5. Amendments and improvements. The Environmental Protection Act has undergone several amendments to strengthen environmental protection laws and to address emerging environmental challenges. One of the notable amendments was the introduction of the Environment Protection Rules, 1986, which set guidelines for regulating hazardous substances, managing waste, and controlling industrial pollution. In 1997, the government introduced the National Environmental Appellate Authority, NEAA, to handle disputes related to environmental clearances and sanctions. 6. Environmental Protection Act and Sustainable Development. The Environmental Protection Act is central to promoting sustainable development in India. By regulating industrial pollution, waste disposal, and the use of natural resources, the Act ensures that development activities do not compromise the ability of future generations to meet their needs. The Act aligns with the principles of sustainable development by balancing economic growth with environmental preservation. 7. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is the main objective of the Environmental Protection Act of 1986 in India? A. To regulate the use of pesticides. B. To establish environmental regulations for industrial activities. C. To conserve forest areas. D. To establish agricultural guidelines. Answer. B. To establish environmental regulations for industrial activities. Year 2019. Question. Question. Which of the following is the main objective of the Environmental Protection Act of 1986 in India? A. To regulate the use of pesticides. B. To establish environmental regulations for industrial activities. C. To conserve forest areas. D. To establish agricultural guidelines. Answer. B. To establish environmental regulations for industrial activities. Year 2019. Question. The Central Pollution Control Board (CPCB) is responsible for which of the following? A. Issuing mining licenses. B. Formulating national standards for pollution control. C. Conducting environmental audits. D. Overseeing international environmental agreements. Answer. B. Formulating national standards for pollution control. Year 2020. Question. Which of the following authorities is appointed to manage the environmental impact assessments in India? A. National Green Tribunal. B. Central Pollution Control Board. C. Environmental Protection Agency. D. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Answer. A. National Green Tribunal. Year 2021. 8. Conclusion. The Environmental Protection Act, 1986, is a pivotal legislation in India that provides a framework for environmental governance. It empowers the central government to regulate pollutants, manage waste, ensure industrial compliance, and foster sustainable development. By strengthening environmental regulations, the Act plays a crucial role in addressing India's environmental challenges and ensuring the well-being of its population and ecosystems. You said. National Action Plan on Climate Change. ChatGPT said. National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC 1. Introduction. The National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC, was launched by the Government of India in 2008 to address the challenges posed by climate change. It outlines India's strategy to adapt to the impacts of climate change while also mitigating the potential risks. The NAPCC is a comprehensive framework that guides the country's approach to addressing climate change and sets the course for sustainable development. The NAPCC consists of 8 national missions that are aimed at promoting energy efficiency, sustainable agricultural practices, and conservation of natural resources, among other things. These missions are intended to reduce India's carbon emissions, promote renewable energy, and improve the overall environmental sustainability of the country. 2. The 8 national missions of NAPCC 2.1 National Solar Mission (NSM). Objective. The goal of the National Solar Mission is to promote the development and use of solar energy in India. The mission aims to harness solar power and reduce dependency on fossil fuels. Key features. The target is to achieve 20,000 megawatts of solar power capacity by 2022, which is subsequently scaled up in later phases. 2.2 National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency (NEED). Objective. This mission aims to increase energy efficiency. Objective. This mission aims to increase energy. 2. The 8 national missions of NAPCC 2.1 National Solar Mission (NSM). Objective. The goal of the National Solar Mission is to promote the development and use of solar energy in India. The mission aims to harness solar power and reduce dependency on fossil fuels. Key features. The target is to achieve 20,000 megawatts of solar power capacity by 2022, which is subsequently scaled up in later phases. 2.2 National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency (NEED). Objective. This mission aims to increase energy efficiency in industries, buildings, and other sectors, reducing energy consumption and carbon emissions. Key features. It includes measures such as promoting energy efficient technologies, financial mechanisms, and setting up energy efficiency standards. 2.3 National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. Objective. Focuses on promoting sustainable urban development, including efficient waste management, sustainable transport systems, and improving building efficiency. Key features. Encouraging cities to adopt sustainable construction practices, better waste management, and more efficient transportation systems. 2.4 National Water Mission. Objective. The mission is designed to address the challenges related to water conservation and efficient use of water resources. Key features. It aims to reduce water consumption, improve water use efficiency across all sectors, and increase water availability. 2.5 National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. Objective. This mission focuses on the conservation of the Himalayan ecosystem and its biodiversity. Key features. It aims to understand the impact of climate change on the region's glaciers, forests, and biodiversity and promote sustainable development in the region. 2.6 National Mission for a Green India. Objective. This mission aims to increase forest and tree cover, restore degraded ecosystems, and enhance carbon sequestration. Key features. It focuses on afforestation, restoration of degraded land, and the expansion of the forest cover to mitigate climate change impacts. 2.7 National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Objective. To promote sustainable agricultural practices that improve productivity, enhance resilience to climate change, and increase food security. Key features. The mission focuses on soil health, water use efficiency, and the promotion of climate-resilient crop varieties. 2.8 National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. Objective. The mission focuses on generating a knowledge base on climate change and building a database to help formulate informed policy decisions. Key features. It includes research on climate modeling, technology development, and human resource development for climate change adaptation. 3. Key objectives of NAPCC. Adaptation and mitigation. The NAPC provides a framework for both adapting to climate change and mitigating its impacts. Sustainable development. It aims to ensure that development goals are aligned with environmental sustainability. Global cooperation. The NAPC recognizes the importance of international cooperation in addressing global climate challenges. Climate finance. The NAPC emphasizes the need for financial resources to implement climate change projects and programs. 4. Implementation and monitoring. The NAPCC is monitored by the Prime Minister's Council on Climate Change, which oversees the progress of the national missions. Various state governments and ministries are responsible for implementing specific missions under the NAPCC. Regular monitoring and reporting help ensure that progress is tracked and interventions are made when necessary. The NAPCC is designed to be a flexible framework, recognizing the evolving nature of climate science, technology, and policy. Therefore, it can adapt to changes in India's climate priorities and international climate commitments. 5. Challenges in implementation. Funding and resources. One of the major challenges in implementing the NAPCC is securing adequate financial resources for large-scale climate change projects. Institutional coordination. Effective coordination between various governmental bodies, stakeholders, and the private sector is crucial for achieving the goals of the NAPCC. Public awareness and participation. Widespread public awareness and active participation are essential for the success of the NAPCC, particularly in areas like energy efficiency and waste management. 6. Progress and achievements. Since its launch, India has made significant strides in implementing the NAPCC, particularly in areas like solar energy deployment, energy efficiency, and forest conservation. The National Solar Mission, for instance, has seen India emerge as a global leader in solar power generation, with several large-scale solar parks being developed across the country. India's commitment to reducing carbon emissions as part of the Paris Agreement is also in line with the objectives of the NAPCC, as India aims to reduce its carbon intensity and increase renewable energy capacity. 7. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is the objective of the National Solar Mission under the National Action Plan on Climate Change? A. Increase energy efficiency in industries. B. Promote the development of solar energy. C. Enhance forest cover in India. D. Reduce the consumption of fossil fuels. Answer. B. Promote the development of solar energy. Year 2017. Question. The National Action Plan on Climate Change (NAPCC) includes a mission focused on promoting sustainable agriculture. Which of the following is the name of this mission? A. National Mission for Green India. B. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. C. National Mission on Water Conservation. D. National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Answer. B. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Year 2018. Question. What is the main aim of the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem under the NAPCC? A. Increase solar power generation in the Himalayan region. B. Protect the biodiversity and water resources of the Himalayas. C. Promote agriculture in the Himalayan region. D. Reduce carbon emissions in the Himalayan states. Answer. B. Protect the biodiversity and water resources of the Himalayas. Year 2019. 8. Conclusion. The National Action Plan on Climate Change (NAPCC) is a crucial initiative by the Indian government to combat climate change and promote sustainable development. Through its 8 missions, the NAPCC addresses critical issues such as renewable energy, energy efficiency, water conservation, sustainable agriculture, and climate adaptation. Despite challenges, significant progress has been made, especially in solar energy and forest conservation, positioning India as a key player in global climate efforts. You said. International agreements efforts Montreal Protocol. ChatGPT said. Montreal Protocol, an international agreement to protect the ozone layer. 1. Introduction. The Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer is a landmark international agreement designed to protect the ozone layer by phasing out the production and consumption of substances responsible for its depletion. Adopted on September 16, 1987, and entering into force on January 1, 1989, the protocol has been ratified by almost every country, making it one of the most universally accepted environmental agreements. The ozone layer, located in the upper atmosphere, is crucial for life on Earth as it absorbs the majority of the sun's harmful ultraviolet UV radiation. UV radiation is linked to various health issues such as skin cancer, cataracts, and weakened immune systems, as well as adverse impacts on marine ecosystems, crops, and terrestrial biodiversity. The Montreal Protocol aims to reverse the depletion of this essential protective layer. 2. Key objectives. The primary objective of the Montreal Protocol is to phase out the use of ozone-depleting substances, ODS, including chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, halons, and other related chemicals. The goal is to reduce the emissions of these chemicals into the atmosphere, thereby allowing the ozone layer to recover over time. The specific targets of the protocol include reducing ODS production and consumption. The protocol outlines specific schedules for phasing out different chemicals, with developed countries taking the lead in reducing their emissions, followed by developing countries. Protecting human health and the environment. By reducing ODS, the protocol aims to minimize the harmful effects of UV radiation, thereby protecting ecosystems, agriculture, and human health. 3. Key features of the Montreal Protocol. 3.1 Control of ozone-depleting substances, ODS. The Montreal Protocol specifically targets chemicals that have been shown to deplete the ozone layer. These include CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, used in refrigeration, air conditioning, and aerosols. Halons, used in fire extinguishers. Carbon tetrachloride, used as a solvent. Methylchloroform, used in industrial applications. The protocol mandates the gradual reduction and eventual elimination of these substances through the establishment of specific control measures. 3.2 Amendments and adjustments. The Montreal Protocol has been amended several times to address emerging scientific data and new chemicals. Notably, the London Amendment 1990, Copenhagen Amendment 1992, and Kigali Amendment 2016 have been significant in broadening the scope of the protocol and enhancing global efforts to protect the ozone layer. The Kigali Amendment 2016 marked a milestone in the protocol's history by introducing measures to phase down hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, which, although not harmful to the ozone layer, are potent greenhouse gases contributing to climate change. This amendment represents an important step in addressing both ozone depletion and global warming. 3.3 Multilateral Fund. The Multilateral Fund was established under the Montreal Protocol to assist developing countries in meeting their obligations. It provides financial support to help these countries transition to alternatives to ODS and implement the necessary technological upgrades. The fund plays a critical role in ensuring that all countries, regardless of economic status, can contribute to ozone protection efforts. 4. Achievements of the Montreal Protocol. The Montreal Protocol has been remarkably successful in achieving its objectives. Some key achievements include substantial reduction of ozone-depleting substances. Since its adoption, the production and consumption of ODS have dropped significantly, with an estimated 98% reduction in CFCs and other major ODS by 2019. Ozone layer recovery. The protocol has successfully reversed the trend of ozone depletion. Scientific projections indicate that, with continued adherence to the protocol, the ozone layer is expected to recover to pre-1980 levels by the middle of the 21st century. Climate change mitigation. The Montreal Protocol has also had a significant climate change mitigation impact. The phase out of CFCs and other ODS has contributed to a reduction in global warming potential, as many ODS are also potent greenhouse gases. 5. Challenges and ongoing efforts. Despite the successes of the Montreal Protocol, challenges remain. Illegal trade in ODS. In some regions, there have been concerns about the illegal production and trade of ODS, which undermines the progress made under the protocol. Emerging chemicals. New chemicals that may potentially harm the ozone layer need to be monitored, and international cooperation is required to regulate these substances. To address these challenges, ongoing research, technological innovations, and international cooperation remain essential. Continued financial support for developing countries is crucial to ensuring global compliance and facilitating the adoption of alternative technologies. 6. Previous year questions. Question. The Montreal Protocol aims to protect the ozone layer by phasing out which of the following substances? A. Carbon dioxide. B. Methane. C. Chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. D. Nitrogen oxides. Answer. C. Chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. Year 2018. Question. Which amendment to the Montreal Protocol added the phase out of hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs? A. London Amendment. B. Copenhagen Amendment. C. Kigali Amendment. D. Vienna Amendment. Answer. C. Kigali Amendment. Year 2020. Question. The Montreal Protocol has successfully led to a reduction in the production of which of the following chemicals? A. Carbon tetrachloride. B. Methane. C. Sulfur dioxide. D. Nitrogen oxide. Answer. A. Carbon tetrachloride. Year 2019. 7. Conclusion. The Montreal Protocol is widely regarded as one of the most successful international environmental agreements, with significant achievements in the protection of the ozone layer and the reduction of substances harmful to it. The protocol's adaptability, financial mechanisms, and commitment to science-based action have ensured its global success. Through continued international cooperation, especially with the inclusion of the Kigali Amendment, the Montreal Protocol is also playing a pivotal role in mitigating climate change, proving that addressing environmental issues can be done in a way that benefits both the ozone layer and the global climate. You said. Rio Summit. ChatGPT said. Rio Summit, Earth Summit 1992, a landmark in sustainable development. 1. Introduction. The Rio Summit, officially known as the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development (UNCED), was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, from June 3 to 14, 1992. The summit is often referred to as the Earth Summit and is considered a major milestone in the global environmental movement. It brought together 172 countries, along with 2,400 NGOs, to discuss and develop strategies for addressing pressing environmental issues and sustainable development. The Rio Summit was pivotal in fostering international collaboration on environmental concerns, focusing not only on protecting the environment but also on the intersection of environmental protection, economic development, and social equity. The conference produced several key documents, including the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, the Agenda 21, and the Convention on Biological Diversity, which collectively laid the foundation for global environmental governance. 2. Objectives of the Rio Summit. The primary objective of the Rio Summit was to foster global cooperation on environmental protection and sustainable development. The summit aimed to address critical environmental challenges, such as deforestation, biodiversity loss, pollution, and climate change. Promote sustainable development, balancing economic growth with environmental conservation and social equity. Encourage international cooperation through shared goals and commitments to environmental protection. Develop actionable frameworks to guide countries in implementing sustainable development practices. 3. Key outcomes of the Rio Summit 3.1 Rio Declaration on Environment and Development. The Rio Declaration consists of 27 principles that provide guidelines for achieving sustainable development, focusing on human rights, equity, environmental protection, and international cooperation. Some key principles include: Principle 1. Human beings are at the center of concerns for sustainable development. They are entitled to a healthy and productive life in harmony with nature. Principle 7. States shall cooperate in the spirit of global partnership to conserve, protect, and restore the health and integrity of the Earth's ecosystem. Principle 15. In order to protect the environment, the precautionary approach shall be widely applied by states according to their capabilities. The Rio Declaration is a guiding framework for global environmental governance, emphasizing the need for equitable development and shared responsibility in addressing environmental issues. 3.2 Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is a comprehensive action plan for sustainable development that was adopted by all participating countries at the summit. It consists of 40 chapters addressing a broad range of issues, such as combating poverty and improving living standards, promoting sustainable agriculture and forestry practices, conserving biodiversity and protecting ecosystems, developing environmentally sound technologies and promoting renewable energy, integrating sustainable development into urban planning and industrialization. Agenda 21 serves as a blueprint for national and international efforts to achieve sustainable development, with an emphasis on local and regional actions to achieve global objectives. 3.3 Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. One of the significant outcomes of the Rio Summit was the adoption of the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, which aims to conserve the world's biodiversity, promote the sustainable use of its components, and ensure fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the use of genetic resources. The CBD has since become a key international treaty, signed by over 190 countries, and has led to the creation of various national biodiversity strategies and action plans. 3.4 Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Another significant outcome of the Rio Summit was the establishment of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. This treaty, which laid the groundwork for future climate negotiations, was signed by 154 countries and sets the framework for international action on global climate change. The UNFCCC's ultimate goal is to stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere to prevent dangerous human interference with the climate system. 4. The role of the Rio Summit in shaping global environmental policy. 4.1 Sustainable development. The Rio Summit was a turning point in global environmental policy, as it officially placed sustainable development at the forefront of international discussions. The concept of sustainable development is based on the idea that economic growth, social development, and environmental protection should go hand in hand, without depleting natural resources for future generations. The summit underscored the need for nations to consider both economic development and environmental protection as equally important. 4.2 International cooperation. The Rio Summit highlighted the importance of international cooperation in addressing global environmental issues. It emphasized that environmental challenges such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and deforestation are interconnected and require collective action. This cooperation extended beyond governmental bodies to include civil society organizations, NGOs, and the private sector, marking a shift towards more inclusive and participatory environmental governance. 4.3 Development of global environmental institutions. The summit also led to the creation or strengthening of international institutions that continue to shape global environmental policy. Key organizations and treaties, such as the UNFCCC and CBD, were solidified during the Earth Summit, and their work has continued to guide international environmental action. 5. Previous year questions. Question. The Rio Summit, held in 1992, is also known as the A. Copenhagen Summit. B. Earth Summit, C. Kyoto Protocol Summit, D. Paris Agreement Summit. Answer. B. Earth Summit Year, 2017. Question. Which of the following documents was adopted at the Rio Summit 1992 to promote sustainable development? A. The Kyoto Protocol. B. The Rio Declaration. C. The Paris Agreement. D. The Montreal Protocol. Answer. B. The Rio Declaration. Year, 2018. Question. Which treaty, aimed at protecting biodiversity, was adopted during the Rio Summit? A. UNFCCC. B. Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. C. Montreal Protocol. D. Ramsar Convention. Answer. B. Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Year, 2020. Question. Which international agreement was established during the Rio Summit 1992 to address climate change? A. Kyoto Protocol. B. Paris Agreement. C. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. D. Bali Action Plan. Answer. C. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Year, 2019. 6. Conclusion. The Rio Summit of 1992 was a defining moment in global environmental policy. It set the stage for the global sustainable development movement and established key international frameworks, such as the Rio Declaration, Agenda 21, and the CBD, that continue to guide global environmental efforts. The summit emphasized the need for cooperation across all sectors of society and marked the beginning of a more integrated approach to addressing environmental challenges. Despite the progress made, the principles and agreements of the Rio Summit remain crucial in tackling ongoing issues such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and sustainable development. You said. Convention on Biodiversity, ChatGPT said. Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, 1992. Introduction. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, is an international treaty aimed at promoting the conservation of biodiversity, the sustainable use of biological resources, and the equitable sharing of benefits arising from the utilization of genetic resources. Adopted during the Rio Summit, Earth Summit, in 1992, the CBD marked a pivotal moment in global efforts to protect biodiversity, acknowledging the integral role that biological diversity plays in human life, health, and economic well-being. With over 190 parties, it remains one of the most widely ratified international treaties in the world. The CBD acknowledges biodiversity in its broadest sense, covering the full range of life on Earth, from genes and species to ecosystems and landscapes. Its three main objectives are: conservation of biodiversity, to preserve the variety of life on Earth, including species, ecosystems, and genetic diversity; sustainable use of biodiversity, to ensure that biological resources are used in a way that meets the needs of present and future generations; fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources, to ensure that the benefits derived from genetic resources, such as those used in pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and biotechnology, are shared fairly with the countries and communities that provide them. 2. Objectives of the Convention on Biological Diversity. The CBD is structured around three core objectives that collectively guide global efforts to conserve biodiversity. Conservation of biological diversity. This objective focuses on protecting the full spectrum of biodiversity, from species and ecosystems to genetic resources. It emphasizes the importance of preserving habitats, restoring ecosystems, and protecting endangered species. Sustainable use of the components of biological diversity. Sustainable use refers to utilizing biodiversity in a manner that does not lead to its depletion or degradation. This principle applies to natural resources like forests, fisheries, and wildlife and requires the development of sustainable management practices. Fair and equitable sharing of benefits. This objective highlights the need for fair access to genetic resources and ensures that benefits derived from their use, such as biotechnological innovations, are shared with the communities or countries from which the resources originate. This is crucial for ensuring equity in global conservation efforts and fostering collaboration between nations. 3. Key features of the CBD 3.1. The Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety 2000. One of the significant additions to the CBD is the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, which was adopted in 2000 to address the potential risks associated with living modified